Hi, Kathryn here with Handmade by circleartdesigns. Well, today on my work table, I'm working on the April project number 9. This will be an April bargain bead box project, and we're going to make an Amazonite necklace and matching earrings. This is a beautiful, beautiful set. It came in that April showers the beads did for this, and I think you will love it. So let's turn our eyes to our work table and get started. So as I turn my eyes to my work table, as always, I look down at the mat that is covering the table, and this is Simply Grateful mat. Isn't that pretty? Let's clean this off just a little bit. I'm always so messy, but I am simply grateful. Yes, simply grateful for my time with you. So, but there was something else I wanted to share that I'm simply grateful for today. I woke up early this morning, really early, and I got my quiet time. I was able to join online with morning prayer, and I got my blog, Good Journeying, done all by 9:30, along with cleaning the dishes that I didn't do last night. I'm truly simply grateful for the extra time that the Lord gave me this morning. I woke up rested and ready to go. So how about you? What are you simply grateful for today? Did you wake up on time? Did you wake up late? Doesn't matter. The Lord woke you up. Truly, what are you simply grateful for? All right, let's get started. All right, so now then, what we have here is our 8x5 millimeter flower Amazonite rondelle beads. This is from the April bargain bead box, and these are gorgeous. Now, when I looked on the site yesterday, they still had some of these. I will put a link below so that you can see if they're still there when you watch this video. But aren't those gorgeous? I just love these Amazonite rondelles. I love the blue, and they're just beautiful. I just love them. Okay, so the next up, I'm using silver beading thread. This is a 0.45 millimeter, and I will also be using I'm going to use some of the smallest of the daisies. I do not want them to detract from the Amazonite, but I do want to put a little bit of silver between them whenever I design this necklace. So let's go ahead and pull out some of those. Let's see, what else do I want? Oh, I know. I want to go ahead and put out a couple of the, these are 4 millimeter silver spacer balls. I use a lot of them. And then I have these little 12-0s in the seed beads and a silver. These I got from Hobby Lobby, and it says they're check glass, and I believe that. And so I have those. And let's see. And the thing that is the most important are these right here. And this is my spiral twist silver. Let's get some of those out. Silver bugle beads. I think these are gorgeous. Not only are they a beautiful color of silver, look at that. Isn't that pretty? But they are also spiral, so they catch the light. And I got this from Wild Beads in Arlington, Texas. And you can look them up online, and they do have them. But they also have something similar to this on Amazon, and I will let you know. Now you say, what are you doing, Kathryn? Well, I have already figured out how many of these beads I am going to need to make my necklace the length I want it to be. And I want this to be about 22 inches, and then I will add an extender onto it. So I am pulling out 26 of the little bugle beads. Now yours may be different, and because it depends on, first of all, the length of the bugle bead that you use and how long you want your necklace to be. But for right now, to speed this up, because I know exactly what I want to do, I'm going to go ahead and pull 26 of the bugle beads out. I will not be cutting my wire, that silver wire. I'm going to go ahead and start beading right on the spool. That way I waste the least amount of wire. So we're going to start off here. Oh, let's see. How do I want to start this? Oh, I need a crimp. I'm going to go ahead and put the crimp on. These are number 1 crimps from Bead-A-Lawn. Those are the ones I like to use. I picked up some crimps one time off of Amazon, and it looked like a wonderful deal. And these things are so soft that whenever you crimp them one direction and then you turn your crimper to crimp them the other direction, they pop open. So I have a whole thing of these that I don't know what I'm going to use them, and they're in the gold and the silver. But I have started out, I put a crimp on, and then I put that 12-0 seed bead. 11-0 is comparable to 11-0. And then I'm going to, let's see here, did I get that done? I put a spacer ball on there, because this will be the beginning of one end of the necklace. And then I am adding the 12-0 seed bead and a bugle bead and the 12-0 seed bead and a bugle bead. And I'm going to do this till I get all of those 26 bugle beads on. Let's see if I can show you here what this looks like. Now, isn't that pretty? It is just gorgeous. What it reminds me of is those silver bullet beads that you can get, and they have those on Amazon. But when I was a much younger woman, I had a friend that made necklaces, and she used the pattern of the bugle bead and the seed bead, and I just love the look. I love the way it catches the light. And it's one of my favorite chains to make. It's very simple. It has a very elegant look to it. And so that is what I'm sharing with you today. Again, we started out by putting on a crimp and then a seed bead and then that 4mm spacer ball and then another of the silver seed beads. And we started putting on the spiral twisted silver bugle beads. So let's just speed this up just a little bit until we get all these on there. And I'll meet you at the next step. And here we are. Now, doesn't that make just a beautiful, delicate little chain? I have known ladies that have made these and just worn them in different lengths. They are so beautiful. Isn't that lovely? I just love bugle beads and seed beads together. It makes a gorgeous piece. And again, my favorite is the spiral ones, because when it spirals, it catches the light in a different way, and I think that is gorgeous. All right, so now that we've got our beads on, I finished up with a seed bead, and now I am going to put on these beautiful little 4mm silver spacer balls. I've got 3 of them. Then I am going to put on one of the Amazonites and that teeny little daisy. See how small it is? And another one of the Amazonites and a daisy. And then just one more. Oop, my phone rang. Sorry about that. Let's see, right like that. Now, I did not begin with a daisy or end with one. I'm only putting it between the three. So there's 3 beads and 3 Amazonites on here. Now I'm going to add 3 more of the spacer balls, just like that. And then I will be ready to start again on my on my bugle beads and my seed beads. I'm sitting here thinking, why does my phone keep going ding dong? I'm going to have to pause just a moment and make sure I turn that off. So again, depending on how long you want the side of your necklace to be, you're going to put all of your bugle beads and seed beads on. Then when you get, I got about just below probably my collarbone to put this next section, and it begins with 3 of the 4mm spacer balls, then an Amazonite rondelle, a very small daisy spacer or whatever spacer you want there. You want to give it a hint of separation, a hint of silver, but you do not want to make it a statement. Then you're going to put another of the Amazonite and another spacer and an Amazonite, and then you're going to put 3 more of the 4mm spacer balls on, and then pick up with your 11 or 12 seed bead and your spiral bugle beads. Mine are in silver. Pick the color you like that goes with your Amazonite or whatever bead you're using. All right, let's continue on. All right, after thinking about it, if I touch my collarbone and I move down, I probably move down about 2 inches from my collarbone to put on the section we just did. And now I'm going to go ahead and pull 6 of my bugle beads for separation for the middle necklace. That will be the lowest part in the necklace. So as I said, I'm going to start, if you haven't already, put on a seed bead, and then we're going to put on 6 of the bugle beads. And again, let's see, I am having a little issue with it, but there you go. There goes 1, and come on, 2. Yeah, let me speed this section up. I have 6. You can have as many or as little as you want to separate it, but you do need some separation from the side of your necklace to the middle of your necklace. All right, you know what? I've talked so long, I think I've just about got this done. Oh, it's such a gloomy looking day outside, but it's that gray that I imagine England must look like a lot, and I love it. Okay. So I have got my 6 bugle beads, and this time again I'm going to start with 3 of the 4mm spacer balls in that beautiful silver, and then I'll put on 1 of the Amazonite rondelles in the daisy, 2 in the daisy, 3 in the daisy, and we'll put on a total of 5 because I like uneven numbers. Remember, when you put on the daisy, you do not need to put one on either side of this component because you are starting out with spacer balls. But you will, or I believe, you will need, for this necklace, you will need spacers in between. So isn't that pretty? I just love it. And so next we'll go ahead and put on the 3 of the spacer balls. 1, 2, come on, you can hit that. What I accidentally bent the very end, mashing it into the mat. And so it's not as straight a little needle type thing as it was when I started. So let me get a picture of this for you. So this is a very good picture to show both the first component and the second component. We started out with the 26 bugle beads and the seed beads, either 11 or 12 O's. Then for that first component, we used 3 of the spacer balls, 3 of the Amazonite rondelles, 3 spacer balls. Remember, we separated the Amazonite by 2 daisy spacers from between beads 1 and 2 and bead 2 and 3. You do not need them on either end because you've put the spacer balls on. Now we go and we put 6 of the bugle beads, those beautiful spiral bugle beads, with either your 11 or 12 O seed beads. When we get to that point, we're going to go ahead and put on, this will be the middle of the necklace. So we are mimicking what we did with the first part of the necklace. And we will put on 3 of the spacer balls, but this time we're going to do 5 of the Amazonite rondelles. And again, we do not start with the daisy spacer because we started with the spacer balls. But after you put on your first rondelle, you're going to do daisy spacer or whatever you're using as your spacer. Then another of the rondelles, a spacer, the middle rondelle, and I've chosen one that is in a dark brownish blue to give it a little differential for the middle. And then a spacer, then the blue rondelle and a spacer in the blue rondelle. And then you're going to put your 3 4mm spacer balls. Now you can use a larger spacer ball. I wouldn't go smaller because you're trying to differentiate between the bugle beads and those 11O or 12O seed beads you're using. You can go bigger, but I would not go bigger than the rondelle that you're using, so that these beautiful Amazonite rondelles become the focal of this piece. And it really will draw the eye in because that silver all around it, that gorgeous built chain of bugle bead and seed bead is just amazing. Now what we're going to do is we're going to mirror what we've done before. So we'll go with the 6 bugle beads and seed beads, the component 1 with the 3 rondelles, and then the 26 bugle beads and seed beads on the other side. So let's speed this up and add a little music, and I'll see you on the other side. And while we're moving this right along, would you please like and comment on this video? And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing and sharing this video with others would be so amazing. Thank you for helping me build this channel. And we're back. I've done a mirror image on the other side of the necklace, which means I've added my spacer ball and my crimp. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put on my claw. And what I'm doing here is I'm going through the crimp and I'm going through that spacer ball because I like to have a bead there to help hide the tail. I am one that likes to leave some tail. You don't have to. That if you do it right, it will hold, but you know, that's the way I learned, and that's what I like to do. So when you're pulling this wire down, make sure that you don't pull it so tight that the lobster claw cannot move around. Now that I'm putting it in the back of the crimper, doing the crimp, turning it a fourth, putting it in the front, doing the crimp again by mashing the handles together. Then I gave it a little tug to make sure it is really on there tight. Now, excuse me. Now, once I have got that done, I move that wire out of the way so that I can bring these flush cutters in, and I cut right up against my spacer ball, making sure that I turn it away from me. Always turn it away and into the mat. You do not want to have anything fly up into your eyes. Now that I've done that, I am moving the whole necklace down on my wire, and I will be ready to cut this from the spool. Remember, we have been working on the spool this whole time. I find this is the easiest way for me not to waste wire because I'm a big puller of wire. The more the better. So I just leave it on the spool whenever possible when I'm using beading wire, and I manage to save it that way. Now then, I am counting out my beads at the very end, and this is before I cut the wire. I want to make sure that both sides are the same. Now I'll tell you what I did with this and why I decided to count it. I thought I had counted out 26 of the bugle beads, but I had actually done 28, and I had a dilemma. Do I want to add 2 more to the side I just crimped? And I thought, no, I wanted 26. That's what will make my necklace come out the right length. I'll just cut this thing and take 2 off. So here are my wire cutters. I've seen people cut this beading wire with just regular scissors, especially if you're using soft flex or something like that. But what ends up happening is it really is wire under there, whether it has a coating or not. So go ahead and use your wire cutters. Now then, again, just like I did on the previous side, I put on my 4mm spacer ball, just like that, and a crimp. And let's see here. Okay, and I am using one of these closed ring twisted, the twisted rings. These are closed rings as opposed to jump rings. So I am going to have to put this on before I do this crimp. If you're using a jump ring that can be opened, it doesn't really matter. But I have these little things. Aren't they cute? I got them and I almost never use them. And I have a whole little bottle of them. So we're going to use them today. So again, I've put that on. I'm bringing it down through that crimp. Well, come on, Kathryn, you can do that. Right through that crimp. Sorry about that. I have tongue twisted today. And this time I'm going to use my chain nose pliers because I don't have a lot of wire or space to play with, and I want to make sure this goes down. You want to check your necklace before you crimp it and make sure all your beads are together. But again, the rule is you want it taut, not tight. You want this necklace to be able to move. And since this is wire, if you pull it too tight, it will buckle on you. And so I've crimped this the same way that I did the other. I gave it a little tug. Isn't that bright and shiny whenever you see that? Can't you see this as just a strand by itself? It would be beautiful. I've moved the wire out of the way and I went ahead and cut it. And this necklace is finished. It is so pretty. But there's something else I want to do. Remember, I said this was going to be a 24-inch necklace for me. That's about where I like it to hang on my shirts or dresses. Isn't that pretty? But some of them are just slightly longer. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to put on this extender. And I got these off of Amazon. It came with the extender, the lobster claw clasps, and the jump rings for it. And they all came together in silver and gold. Now for this one, I want to finish off the end. So I have used one of the 12O beads. And then I've used a spacer ball and another 12O bead. And that is all I'm going to put on this. Now then, for this one here, because of the 24 gauge, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it. I push it away from me. I turn the pliers. I push it over the top just like that. And I'm using it at the very tip of these pliers, straight nose pliers. Then I'm taking my chain nose pliers. And, you know, you'd think I could just get a good hold on this. But this there, it keeps sliding off. Okay, so I'm, did you see that? I made it jump across the thing. All right, we're going to hold it. I'm straightening it up. I'm going to stick it back in there, and we're going to get 2 turns at least on this. And the reason being is because this is a little 24 gauge, you do not want this to come off. That's one of the reasons I don't make just a loop. I wrap it. Okay, now I'm turning it, I'm getting it in there so you can see it, and then I'm turning it away from me, clipping the wire, making sure that there's no end sticking out, and there is. So I'm going to just put it in just like that and make sure it's straight. And this is so pretty. I made 2 of these necklaces. One of these necklaces is going up in the shop, and the other is for myself with clips, because we will be doing earrings really quickly whenever we're finished with this part. All right, so I've done that. I am taking a jump ring and I'm going to open it up. You know what? I think I am on camera. And I've got these teeny little jump rings. These are little 4mm jump rings. I'm going to take 2 of my chain nose pliers, and I'm going to go ahead and open this jump ring because it was giving me issues. I opened it up with the twist of one wrist. Hold the other one steady. Put on your extender just like that, and go ahead and put on your little charm that you've made right on the end. This is a great way to finish off necklaces. You could use these little 4mm spacers and finish off the tip of any of your extenders, and it is just gorgeous. You know, you could leave it plain, but it looks more finished and more professional if you do put something on the very end. And you can buy things that are just made to put on the end of extenders, but this is a beautiful finish for it. It's not invasive, and it gives it just a lovely look. All right, now I've opened that jump ring, put it on my the closed link that I put on the end of it, and then I am putting this extender on that closed link. Now these closed links are beautiful, beautiful. I really need to decide what I'm going to do with them to make them a focal point of a piece, and I will eventually, but I thought it was a nice touch for this. I've opened this up, I've closed the lobster claw, and this necklace is finished. Isn't that pretty? I just love this necklace. I love this type of chain. It's beautiful. Now, let's make some matching earrings, shall we? Here we go. All right, for the matching earrings, you're going to need 2 of your head pins. I'm using flat head pins. I have put on 1 of my 12-0 seed beads. Then I've put on the rondelle in that Amazonite. Then I put on the little daisy spacer we used in the necklace. And then 1 of the spacer balls, and then I forgot, another seed bead. And then I am putting on the bugle beads, and I will try to get you a picture. So here's a picture, and as you can see, we started out with that 12-0 seed bead, then we have the Amazonite rondelle, and then that little bitty daisy spacer I used in the necklace, and then we have our 4mm spacer ball in that beautiful silver. Now to start the top, because I want these to be long dangles, we're going to start out with the 12-0 seed bead, then a bugle bead, a 12-0 seed bead, and the bugle bead. And let's see if this is long enough. I really love the look of these earrings. This is a style I think I may be using in other things in the shop, but I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is add 1 more of the bugle beads on here, because I really wanted to have that long classic look of a drop dangle, and that is just perfect. Now I'm going to use my loopers for these because this is 20 gauge wire on this head pin. I put the head pin across the looper just like that, but that seed bead right up against the edge, mash the handles, then push back just a little bit so you get a lovely little question mark that will keep this over the top, or you have a better chance of keeping it over the top. Remember, whenever you are doing these, if it isn't sitting right over the top of your bead, your dangle will either go to the left or the right. So if you have that problem, hold it at the very bottom of the circle and go ahead and make sure that your piece is right over the top. Now what I'm checking here is I wanted to make sure that I had that this is in the same, not the same plane, in opposite planes. 1 vertical, 1 horizontal, because I'm putting this right into the fishhook ear wire itself. And I did not want to have to use a jump ring on this because I didn't want to add any other length. And to be real honest, if I added another jump ring, it would have a lot more motion to it, but that wasn't what I was looking for in these earrings. So I've got this one finished, excuse me. And let's see, through the magic of video, here is the other one. Now, aren't those lovely? I just love this set. What a beautiful set this is. So here we have the finished piece laying out on our mat. Isn't that beautiful? This has such a beautiful classic look to it. And look at that bugle bead and seed bead chain. That is gorgeous. I am definitely putting more of this type of chain into my pieces. And these are just classic dangle drops. They are so pretty. This chain with this Amazonite rondelle reminds me of flowing water and the sunlight coming up off that water. It is just gorgeous. What a perfect piece for the April Showers bargain bead box. And here are some pictures. Aren't these beautiful? I just love this set. As I said, I made 2 of this set. Whenever I do the jewelry drop, I'm putting this in the shop. And I've also made a set for myself with clip earrings of the same classic drop dangles. Are really beautiful. Thank you so much for joining me today. I had a wonderful time designing this piece. I hope you enjoyed watching it. I hope it gave you some wonderful ideas and inspired you to look in your own beads and see what you have that you would like to use and make one of these beautiful, I would call it a waterfall chain necklace, because it does. The silver in it, and it could be gold as well. You know, whenever the sun hits off of it, it would give it that beautiful waterfall liquid color. Thank you again, and I will see you next time. God bless. Kathryn, Handmade by Circle Art Designs. Bye, y'all.